Alright, so this is Inside Living Things continued. We have a couple pages to go today. But I'm just going to go over this chart that you see over here. These are called columns, and these are called rows. So these are the columns, and they talk about each. This column talks about different systems. This column talks about the main organs that are there. This one talks about the activities and the purposes of each of those things. So if you're looking for, let's say, your skeletal, that I don't know why they use other animals, but they're just letting you know a frog would have this many bones, a human has this many bones, and what's the purpose. So if you need to use that chart, that's what it's there for. A lot of the times on state tests, they will ask you questions like, what is the digestive system for? List 3 things under main organs. And that's when you go do right there. Okay, mission control. All of our systems are important. The nervous system, though, is especially important. It is the communication and control system for all the other systems. It gathers and uses information to control almost all of an organism's tasks. The nervous system includes several organs such as the nose, eyes, ears, skin, and tongue. It also includes nerve cells that connect the brain to organs in all body parts. Plants do not have nervous systems. Instead, their cells communicate by using chemicals that flow through the tissue. Nerve cells are different from other types of cells in many ways. Most importantly, they carry signals that allow the body parts to communicate with each other. Since organs use nerve cells to send information to the brain can then sends back orders to respond. Nerve cells in this dog's brain interpret information from the rest of his body. My dog's brain just says, let's go to sleep. Eat and bark at everything, including me. Of course, you saw that coming. The boss. The brain of many animals has 3 main parts. Each plays a particular role in directing the body's activities. Number 1, the cerebrum manages incoming information from the senses. It helps control thinking and speaking. It is the largest part of the human brain. Some people need to use that part more. Most animals' brains have smaller cerebrums than human brains. The cerebellum is the large controlling balance and the position of the body. It is in charge of controlling the balance and position of the body. So that's this one right here. So this part controls what we say. This part controls the balance and position of the body. It helps organize muscle movement. The brainstem controls systems that work on their own, such as the circulatory and respiratory systems. Brainstem, obviously that's going to have to be pretty huge. The brainstem, I think you said system, controls systems that work on their own, such as the circulatory and respiratory system. Boy, you would not want to mess with any of those. Did you know other animals have brains too? Oh my gosh, I hope you guys know this. Dogs, rats, lizards, and grasshoppers have brains. Even tiny ants and fleas have brains. A giant blue whale's brain is 4 times bigger than a human's brain. But even though the whale brain is large, it is not as big as compared to the size of the body as a human brain is. Yeah, I get that. Do you know? Not all microorganisms are harmful. In fact, many are helpful. For example, tiny bacteria in your digestive system help you digest the food you eat. Food like yogurt contains these helpful bacteria. Good to know. You also have to make sure you're drinking lots of water. They don't say that, but a lot of these cells, they even say that having a glass of water a little before you go to bed can help, especially when you get old like me, can help prevent strokes. Body wars. Did you know that most organisms have a special system that protects them from other harmful organisms? This is called the immune system. Every day, animals and plants are threatened by harmful microorganisms that cause disease. These microorganisms are called pathogens. Pathogens can enter an organism through various openings. Even so, the organism works to keep out pathogens. The skin of animals and plants stops many of them. The saliva in humans and other animals' mouths kills some pathogens. Really? Good to know. The digestive juices in the stomach kill others. Even tears can wash some pathogens away. Tears of joy, hopefully. That's good to know. Some pathogens still succeed in breaking through the organism's defense. They can infect cells and spread disease. At that point, an organism's immune system enters the battle. In animals with blood, jeez, I need to be able to read. White blood cells recognize the invader. More white blood cells are quickly made. They attack the pathogens and kill them. They also kill the cells in the pathogen that the pathogens have infected. Meanwhile, other white blood cells produce antibodies. These are chemicals that kill certain kinds of pathogens. The antibodies cause the pathogens to clump together. As clumps, they are easier to recognize and destroy. Did you know? Probably not. I'm going to say already, before I read the answers now. All organisms have some way of defending themselves against disease. Trees ooze sap to heal cuts and keep away invasive bugs. Plants and insects use chemicals to ward off microorganisms, and even tiny bacteria use special parts to engulf and destroy other bacteria. Wouldn't that be crazy if they could just find a way to tell if you had the coronavirus by just having you touch a plant and seeing what the plant does? Genius. Your teacher's a genius. That would be amazing if you could do that. I don't really think I'm a genius, but that'd be interesting to see if you could do that. Rivers of nutrients. Let's take a closer look at one of the important systems of the circulatory system. This system is like many interconnected tubes in both animals and plants. The liquid running through these tubes delivers nutrients to the cells. It also takes away the cell's waste products. In animals, the liquid is blood. In plants, the liquid is mostly water. In animals, these tubes are miles and miles of blood vessels called arteries. Arteries carry blood to cells. Vessels called veins carry blood away from cells. Well, that's important. So arteries carry blood to cells and veins carry blood away from cells. Arteries and veins are connected by tiny vessels called capillaries. I actually knew that, but I did not remember that. These vessels deliver antibodies to and take waste products. Should say cells. These vessels deliver antibodies to cells and take waste products from cells. I'm going to say they probably forgot the word, but maybe you could read it either way. That's crazy. Arteries and veins are connected by capillaries. In humans, blood vessels circulate nutrients to the parts of the body. In plants, the phloem does this job. Phylum, sorry. That makes more sense. Alright. I think we're done with that. Oh, last thing. The job. The radiographer. So this is a job that has to do with science, and this is our social sciences, so it's like a careers class. Imagine if a doctor had to cut open a patient's body every time there was a health concern. Holy sweet mother, I'm so glad that's not a thing. Long ago, this happened a lot. Not in my book. I would not do that. Fortunately, we now have technology that allows us to see inside a human's body without cutting at all. A radiographer operates this technology. I feel like I'm saying this like 8 different ways. That's graphers. Radiographers, I'm going to stick with that. Operate X-rays, MRIs, which is a magnetic resonance imaging, and other equipment to create images requested by the doctor. These images can show broken bones, blocked blood vessels, and congestion in the heart and lungs. Some images even show activity in the brain. Really? First, the radiographer prepares the patient by explaining what to expect. He or she shows the patient exactly where to sit or lie down. Before taking the images, the radiographer places the shield on parts of the patient's body that do not need to have an image taken. This protects the patients from excess radiation. The radiographer often operates the machines from a protected room. Afterward, he or she sends the images to a radiologist, a doctor who can interpret them. Future radiographers should enjoy working with people and operating machines. They must be willing to follow doctors' orders carefully. And radiographers study math, chemistry, physics, and biology in high school. Many radiographers earn a 2-year degree in college or attend a special school that trains them just for their career. 2 years at college or a special trade school? Yes, please.